recording. Now share. Okay. Well, welcome guys to week 4. And I was riding home from work today and thinking about it, and I look at segments and things like that because it helps me. Like even when I'm paying my bills, I'll say, well, now in these 3 months, I can get this paid off if I'm doing a project at the house, whatever. But I can't believe that next week, when we complete next week, you will be 1/3 of the semester over with. And thank you for being here tonight. We ask you to stay with us and hang with us, through week 4. We said that by week 4. And Dr. Revis, they've hung with us, the ones that are here, the majority of them have. And, we'll talk about the specifics later on, but I've already seen some tremendous work and growth in the students already. So, thank you for taking the challenge, and thank you for staying with us, and thank you for working with us. Dr. Revis, anything?
Well, I agree. I have seen a lot of really good work come in, and APA is improving every time you do something and turn an assignment in. So you are learning, you are writing at the graduate level, and I am so proud of you and proud of the work that you're doing.
Yeah. Now I'm going to tell you this. When we brag on you on like this, and we tell you like they do in the churches, don't you backslide on us. You better not one of you better backslide on us because we've bragged on you this week. You keep on doing the good stuff that you're doing and making the progress that you're making. Okay, with that in mind, Dr. Revis, I'm going to stop sharing. Well, you can see basically the outline of what we're going to be doing today. Dr. Revis is going to lead us in our textbook discussion for Chapter 2. I'm just going to give you a reminder about the internship because it's coming up soon. And then we're going to go into talking about, the work that you did for assignment 2. And then we're going to move into what you've got to do next over the next 2 weeks. So that's basically how everything's going to roll tonight. So I'm going to stop sharing, Dr. Revis.
Okay, so you got the email probably mid, well, about midweek, and we decided that we wanted to slow down on your readings, and I hope that helped you a little bit, but also gave you an opportunity to be very thoughtful in your reading and go a little bit deeper. So in chapter 2, it's about the 10 data rules. So, what I want you to do is think for a few minutes here about which one data rule really resonated with you. Okay, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to get your thoughts together. Okay, what I would like for you to do is just put in the chat box the data rule number and a little bit about which data rule resonated with you and why. Yeah, Ryan, I agree. There's definitely a difference between commitment and um and compliance. And you want commitment. You want teachers to buy into what you're doing with data or whatever it may be, um, even when you're not around.
Dr. Evans, I like what Kara said because that is so true. And I pointed that out, where you sit in meetings where data were used to tell teachers what they were doing wrong. Thinking of data as fostering hope makes me think more positively about it. And that was one of the things that when I was reading the chapter, I highlighted that because, as the leader of the school, you set the tone. You really you're the pulse of your school. And you set the tone, whether it's going to be teachers are going to feel good and excited, even in a difficult situation. You as the leader can foster the hope, and they will rally behind you, whatever it. And I've always said it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And you've got to be so careful with that as a leader because our words are powerful. We can kill and destroy just, just like that. So we have to be so careful. And many of you probably have experienced this yourself at times, where administrators did not approach something the way they should have approached it. Okay?
And that actually was my number one thing was data should foster hope. And I like the example of the principal was just telling, just browbeating, I think, the teachers about you got to work harder. You got to work harder. Listen, that, teachers go into the classroom, in my opinion, my philosophy is people don't walk into the classroom and intentionally want to be ineffective. I think everybody wants to be effective. And it's not about them working harder. Teaching is hard work. It's about maybe tweaking a little bit of the things they're spending their time on. And to just browbeat a staff about data without giving them some idea of how do we work differently? How do we move from this place on? You can impact student learning. And I think in a lot of low performing schools, and I worked with a lot of low performing schools, one of the commonalities that they have is they have lost their sense of hope. They don't feel like they have the ability to make a difference for this group of children. And typically, our poverty lines run right parallel with low performing schools. And that's the way in North Carolina our accountability model is set up, that it's so heavily weighted on performance that if you are in a high poverty school, it's very, very difficult for you to be high performing. But there is hope. And we do have the impact, the ability to impact. And when teachers start getting little wins with students, it builds their confidence and boosts their self-efficacy. And that's what you have to do. You don't browbeat people about data. You talk about what we can do and what we're going to do differently and let them have some say so in what they want to do as far as their path to improvement. I didn't mean to go off that long. I'm sorry.
And Dr. Revis, I really liked, and several of them talked about, the data should be validated, number 10. And I agree with that. But I'm going to use this as an example, very quick example. How many, all of our lives, we hear people say they'll say little sayings or whatever, and they'll declare it comes from the Bible. Well, it doesn't come from the Bible, but how are we supposed to validate that? We read the Bible and we study it ourselves. That validates it. But you've heard all your life, well, you know, the word says, well, the word doesn't always say what everybody, it's what they say. So, you know, the Bible, knowing the Bible, it validates the Bible. It validates what's in it and what isn't. And that's, you know, research when you know, don't just take somebody's word for it. What does the research say? And Dr. Revis, this is a good segue into, you know, as we prepare them for assignment 4, you're going to validate the research. You're going to look for solutions. We'll talk about it more. You're going to look for solutions to your identified problem in your area. But that's what the research is for. You validate, you know, you validate what the problems are or what the problem is. And I really liked, it says data should be chosen by the teacher. And remember, we talked about just a couple of weeks ago, we said that, you know, remember when I said take that hat off and put on the principal hat and think like a principal? And remember, I said that your role as a principal is to teach teachers, and teachers' role is to teach students. So, you know, as the leader, you understand the data, you share the data, but guess what? Teachers work with those students, so they should be an integral part of of you know, choosing the data, working the data, you know, working it. It shouldn't be micromanaged, and as the leader, you tell them everything. First of all, how does it make you feel? You're going to do it because you have to, because it's your job, but your heart's not in it. But when it belongs to you and you take ownership of it, it belongs to you, it takes on a whole different meaning. So remember, as the leader of your school, teachers are highly, I mean, they know it. And if you've got new people that don't know it, then you handle it in the right way. You don't browbeat them or whatever. But as the principal, your job is to help them understand it and to train them and teach them and guide them in that process. But this whole chapter, I mean, it's loaded, Dr. Revis, with nuggets, just nuggets of great stuff.
It really is. And I think it's a good segue into assignment 3, where you're going to be collecting different types of data. Now, I am a numbers person. That's where my undergraduate, I have a master's in mathematics. I love data crunching. And when I first went to graduate school working on my doctorate, I was introduced to qualitative data. And I just really tell you, I had no use for it. But the more I worked with it and analyzed and synthesized qualitative data, you can get some amazing information. And so tonight we're going to really dive in to some qualitative data gathering. You've gathered your quantitative data. And tonight we're going to roll up our sleeves and talk about how to now, based on your academic area that you've identified and your target student group, you're going to roll your sleeves up and
Mm.
look at some qualitative data.
Mm.
Before we do that, we need to say anything else. Thank you so much. I really like the your comments. They're thoughtful, and you have supported your thoughts very well.
Just thumbs up for the ones that we can see. How many of you, and if you don't like it, it's okay. You don't have to. I mean, everybody who does. How many likes the book? You're finding that so far that is really true. I do too. I have actually, you know, as long as I've been doing this business, and Dr. Revis, we both have talked about how much I like the practicality of it, and I like the fact that it's coming from a group of teachers that have lived it. So I think that as we work through the next 8 chapters, 6 chapters of this book, I think we're going to find some good stuff that you'll be able to lean on as you move forward, even in your future classes, and then especially when you take on the role of being an administrator. Um, Anything else, Dr. Revis, from the textbook?
I don't think so. Like I said, we're going to get into talking about gathering some qualitative data tonight. So I think we're good. Thank you, guys.
Say one more thing. This came from rule number 6. I found this, and this goes into what you're going to be doing with the qualitative and the quantitative data, the additional. It started out under that. I highlighted it. It says data are valid when they measure what they are intended to measure. And then it further says teachers and observers need to make sure that the data they gather are actually measuring what students are supposed to be learning. So that's vitally important as you're moving in to this next, this next task that you're going to be working with. Just a quick reminder of your clinical internship requirements. Remember that half of your hours, 100, and we've laid them out for you how they need to look. That the end of week 7, that you need to be ready to share that Dr. Revis's class with me and my class with Dr. Revis. They will, sometimes you need somebody else other than the ones closest to all your work. You need them to look at some things as well. So that's why we do what we do with the internship part of this program, and working with your clinical coach too. So are there any questions at this point about your internship requirements and what you're going to have for us at the end of week 7? Okay, so that gives you a good 3 weeks. You know where you are, you know what you've got to do. Okay.
We have a question, Dr. Stedman.
Okay.
Christy?
Christy.
Hey, do they need to be split evenly in half? I know we need 200 at the end and 100 need to come from the work that we're doing. Do we have to have 50 for the work that we're doing and 35, or does it need to be split that way, or does it matter?
As long as it equals out at the end, I'm okay, Dr. Revis. If it's not exactly 100 in the middle, are you okay with that?
Right. As long as as long as you can document 100 right now at the mid semester, it really doesn't matter to us if, if it's 50-50 coursework or clinical.
Your coursework actually will possibly, the second half, you probably will have more hours into that because of the what you've got to do, if that makes sense. That's a good question, though, Christy.
But remember, when you're documenting things from your coursework, you can't say assignment 1, 15 hours. Break it down. Collecting data, meeting with the data manager, meeting with the testing coordinator, whatever.
Right.
But just don't say assignment 1.
Conducting a focus group,
Right.
or interviewing the principal,
Mm-hmm.
those kinds of things. You don't have
Right.
to go into great detail, but let us know what it is. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions before we move on? Dr. Revis, if you would, since my mind will not open up on the agenda, can you open up so that you can click on the links on the agenda and go to the places that we need to go to? Or
I can. I don't have it pulled up right now. So if
okay,
you'll talk just a minute, I'll get it
okay,
pulled
you
up.
pull it up. But well, now I can talk all the time. Now I don't know what to say, but but just remember, those of you that would have already read chapters 2, 3, and 4, I think it was. Just go back and review them. Some of you may not have gotten to it by the time we got the message out to you, but just next week, just remember that all we're going to talk about is chapter 3. We realized that with everything else, that was a little much, and that we could get more quality out of it by breaking it down and spreading it out over the course of the semester. So,
Okay, can you
okay.
see my
Yeah,
screen?
yes, we can.
All right. I think we've pretty well hit assignment
We
2.
have. We have.
I I will
We
tell you this, guys, you're doing a really good job. The one thing I want to caution you on, the helpful hints. Don't copy what I've written word for word, please. You can use it, um, you know, this introductory paragraph, you can't copy it word for word from me because, if everybody does that, you're gonna hit against each other's papers um, in the turn it in process. So be sure that your words are yours. Um, that's all my caution would be. But we do like to see it laid out like this. There is
Yes.
nothing wrong with
No.
having this as your heading. And if you will follow this, we start out, we'll give you a little bit of information, and then you get to going on your own. But, I will tell you that for the majority of you, you did a really great job. One of the things a couple of you don't want to choose between a couple subgroups. You have to make a choice. NCPPA makes you make a choice with a target student group. When you see what you have to do in assignment 3 and 4, you will understand why only one subgroup. Okay? So I've made note on that, and I know if Dr. Stedman, if you had him, your students who didn't want to choose just one, and we know it's not just one, but to do the in-depth things that we're going to do in this class, if you don't narrow it down to one, you'll never be able to finish the assignment. So, again, any questions on assignment 2?
Well, and the same thing, and just remember, we said a priority need, not
Yes,
needs. So and we pulled that directly from the NCPPA. So they are looking for a priority need, not need. We know that there are probably many needs, multiple needs that you could address. And it doesn't mean you can address them, but you can't address them for the purpose of this project. And Dr. Evans, I will say sometimes as educators, we have a tendency to want to fix all the problems. And while
yes,
we want to, that's why we don't accomplish what we need to accomplish sometimes, because we have too many pots on the stove at one time. And
well,
something's not going to get the attention that it needs to get. So that's why we say a priority need. And once you focus on that, you get it to a place and you can monitor it. That's when you can move that next priority need, in. Like I said, it doesn't mean you can't do it, but you have to go with what's the biggest need at that point, at that time.
exactly. And one of the hallmarks of a low performing school is they're trying to do too many things.
Mhm.
They spread themselves way too thinly. They have all these things going on. Well, number one, when you got all that stuff going on, teachers can't keep up with it and you can't monitor it. Neither you nor the teacher can monitor all that stuff. So you have to narrow your focus.
Right.
Okay,
And Dr.
any
Evans,
hands up?
my class too, overall, there's some that still, they're having to make some edits put in there, but overall, it was great work for, already at this stage. I was impressed with some of them were perfect the first time.
Oh yeah, I had
I had
several.
several perfect the first
Mhm.
time.
I did
I
too.
will go back to the template. Remember that that's an abbreviation of what the assignment needs to look like. And so we encourage you um, to think beyond that. And, just because Dr. Revis put figure 15 in there, it doesn't mean your figure 15 has to look like that. And it doesn't mean that you're limited. You may think of something else that would better show, what you're talking about. And one thing I need to remind you of, we've said it over and over and over again, you must consistently double space your work. That's before headings, that's after headings, that's in your narrative work, all of that. You consistently means that from beginning to the end, except in your directives. The directives you don't. If Dr. Revis and I we're providing, Dr. Revis, you're doing side notes on your reviews as well when you need to, right?
I did not this time.
Okay, you did not, but you do as you need to. Well, I
Right.
did. I will have to say that uh, if I take the time to do a side note and I take the time to highlight stuff, that means you should take the time on your end to go back and fix it the first time. When I get it again, I shouldn't be dealing with the same stuff over and over again. Okay? I think that's fair. Because
Right.
when I take the time to put those side, because there's going to come a time I'm not going to do as much. I just haven't released it yet. But right
I,
now is
yeah.
so that you can understand and get a better idea of of the the formatting and the structure and the look of your work, as well as the content of the work. So we're looking at all of that right now. So again, when you get your feedback, whether it's in the, in the where the comment section is, or whether you get side notes and highlights, either way, make sure that you fully address, what it is that you've got to do before you resubmit it for a final review. Okay. But overall, great job.
Your revisions for assignment 2 are due. Who can tell me when they're due? Back to us. Heather?
Unmute, Heather.
Got it. Tomorrow. It's by six
Tomorrow
o'clock.
by 6 o'clock. Now, you have the opportunity to make that 80, 90, whatever, go to 100. I mean, my goodness, whoever does that in graduate school? Well, we do, because it's more important for us that you have quality work than splitting hairs with a 95 to a 92 or no. If you get it right and you do all the revisions the first time, you can go back to 100. You can earn that 100. Now, if we have to do 3 and 4 revisions and you don't get to say, no, I'm good with an 85. You don't get to say that. We want it we want everyone to get to that 100 if we can. We want all revisions made. But, if you have to do it more than twice, then you're not going to gain back to 100. But who does that? I hope if you're teaching in the classroom that you give your students that opportunity, particularly at the beginning of the semester when they're learning you and you're learning them, knowing when people may need a little extra support. We're learning you just like you learn your students. So don't forget, revisions are due tomorrow evening by 6.
Dr. Evans, I will say I've got not many, but I got a handful. I can count on one hand that have not gone back and done anything with task one. Well,
Yep.
That's if I knew that my points were going to add up to whether I made an A minus, or or B plus or whatever, I would take care of trying to get all the points I could get.
Well, not only that, but Dr. Stedman, they're going to pull from these assignments
Exactly.
to put it in your portfolio. You
Mhm.
don't want to be pulling um, text from your work that is not done correctly. So get those assignments revised.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and most of you have done it, and thank you for that. Um, okay.
All right. I want to, are we ready to move on, Dr.
Yes,
Stedman?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I want us to look at assignment 3 rubric first. Did it come up, Dr. Stedman?
It did. You got bring it down, pull it up a little bit higher.
Okay. Assignment 1. We're only going to talk about the content. All right. You use your working hypothesis regarding your academic performance of your target student group, and you're going to gather additional qualitative data from significant stakeholders, including teachers and school leaders that help to and they are going to help you identify some possible strategies to support learning. So your working hypothesis is if we can implement research-based strategies for my second language learners, then we can improve their learning and thus the school. So you're going to collect data from relevant stakeholders about their ideas on support strategies. You're going to collect data, the next little paragraph, about their performance and the student culture to help clarify reasons the target student groups for the target student group's learning needs. So you're going to talk about, you're gathering possible strategies, you're gathering information about your culture, your school culture. You are going to examine or evaluate relevant existing policies, practices, and programs. Now, if my group's LEP, I'm going to have some time with probably my lead LEP or ELL, whatever acronym your district uses, teacher, and I'm probably going to even talk with the district person about existing policies and practices and programs. And also, I'm going to gather their feedback about what changes do they think that we need to make in order to improve that performance in that priority area. So in the end, I'm collecting 2 qualitative elements, and they're going to be in the form of a focus group and interviews, and at least 1 quantitative additional element. Your test scores are quantitative, right? 1 other quantitative, and we'll talk about some ideas on that. So next, let me go back and I'm going to show you my helpful hints. Did it come up?
It did.
Okay, thank you. Okay. These things are single space because these are like your directions. These are taken right from the rubric. All right. You are identifying what is working well and where improvement is needed. Okay, so overview. I'm going to start because this is an assignment 3. I'm going to start my first introduction is going to be after collecting historical student performance. I'm going to go ahead and reiterate what the priority area of need, academic need is. Okay. Secondly, I'm going to identify my target student group. Just do that so that when we read your papers, we don't have to go back to assignment 1 or 2. All right, you've already done this. This has already been done. You're recapping it. That's all you need to tell us. what is your academic priority area of need, and what's your target subgroup. That's it. Next, you're going to set out to investigate. And I just write, I'm taking this language right here from right up in here. All right. And I'm going to talk about, I did this by conducting focus groups with selected staff. And then I'm going to interview the director of the L program at the district, the L teacher at our school, and the principal.
Now that could be whoever you want to interview.
Right. But you're going to do a focus group.
Right.
Now, if math is my area, who is the logical group of teachers that I'm going to do a focus group with? Math department, right? And if I have an instructional coach, I'm going to pull them in. And if I have an administrator who works with curriculum and instruction, I'm going to pull them in.
Right.
And the reason I chose the L director at the district level and the L teacher was because they're very knowledgeable of the program. And the principal is going to help me give some context, maybe when we look at scheduling and how those children are served and all that stuff. You could do an assistant principal as well. You don't have to do the principal. You can do another administrator. Now, those are my two qualitative pieces of data, right?
Dr. Ravis, I know you're you're going to talk about focus groups anyway, but going back, just like if you're in the middle grades or in high school, many times, the math teachers they have their own PLCs or whatever. You can go to actually to a PLC or a math department meeting, and that can be your focus group.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, work with what you've got if it's already there.
Exactly. All right. So, then for, in North Carolina, there is a section on the teacher working condition survey for the equity section. I'm going to pull that to get some feel for a student climate. Okay. In South Carolina, I asked about three of you, do you have any school climate data that you can pull? And I got mixed information. One of you said yes, but it's only at the school level, which is exactly what you need. You just have to cite your source. If it's not a school climate survey, some of you do that panorama survey. So you can use that as well. You just have to say what you're going to use. And then finally, you don't have to. I'm going to look at school attendance and school discipline data with that target subgroup. So the teacher working conditions survey results, that's a quantitative piece of data. And so would looking at attendance and discipline data. You may find other things you want to look at for that other quantitative piece. You remember you got to have two qualitative, one more quantitative piece.
And Dr. Ravis, I don't know if y'all been paying attention to it, and I'm sure you have. School attendance has become a national issue, and there's been a lot of talk, even on the news. They've been talking about that, and I know that with communities and schools where I work now, that at our national level, that has become the biggest focus for this coming school year is for my student support specialists to go into the schools and to make school attendance one of their biggest objectives to work with this year, one of their biggest goals. So
right. Now you don't really want your focus groups going down the rabbit hole about attendance and discipline.
Right.
Okay.
But all of these have an impact on
Yeah.
can have an impact on why that subgroup is where it is.
But if you look at school attendance and you've got a disproportionate number of my L students missing school, well, yeah, that's a big issue.
Right.
Um, all right, focus groups.
Mhm.
The first thing you do is you tell who you're inviting. The second thing you tell is the purpose. I'm going to try to ask questions about instructional practices, what kind of academic interventions they've been using, what about planning time, professional development opportunities, and program services. Because what I want to do is I'm going to identify some gaps and opportunities for improvement. Okay? So, after gaining permission from the teachers, don't record unless everybody's okay with that. You record it, and for your focus groups, you must use these questions. Now, let me tell you why. Because the university, you're in a university situation, these are the questions that we are approving for you to use. So, for example, in question one, if your target student group is student with disabilities, you just plug students with disabilities in, where I've got L's. But these are the only ones that we will approve. Okay? So it's asking what instructional strategies do they identify work well? What interventions are available? Describe the school culture related to the L students. What types of professional development have you taken? And what types would you like to have? And then what strategies or practices can be used to improve the learning for L's, specifically in that Math 1? So I've got my whole math department here. You may have teachers who don't teach Math 1. That's okay. What works for Math 1 is going to work for Math 2 and 3, whatever. So once I collected data from focus groups, I analyzed my responses by each question. So my first question, remember that first question, what instructional strategies do you use for L's? Most math teachers agree that using graphic organizers and visual representations are instructional practices that seem to be necessary to support the learning of L's. However, as one teacher pointed out, oh, geez, I've got a quote here. Yeah, we want you to have a quote. Back it up. All Math 1 teachers need to have a common planning time so we can collaborate on developing these graphic organizers and visuals. I made this up, okay? It would be great if a L teacher would meet along with us during that time too. But I wanted you to see that, yeah, you support your findings by something a teacher said. And I would think in at least each question you would have one direct quote. And that's how you would write it. One teacher pointed out and just put it in quotes. When discussing interventions, all teachers share they offer extra help sessions at least 2 mornings every week, and a few also offer after school help. And then there's a quote there from the teacher. I have been considering giving some type of incentive or bonus test points if students would come in for extra help, but I'd like to get more ideas. All right, in responding to the school culture, and then I summarize that particular question. When discussing professional development offered, 2 teachers talked about Project GLAD, and both felt that this professional development was intense, but agreed it also provided them with many strategies to make the curriculum more accessible to L students. One teacher suggested that all teachers need to take this intensive training and, as a department, focus on refining and implementing these strategies. And this is truthful. This is a great program and training. In our school district, we happen to be, I guess it's a statewide training center for this, but it's great stuff. So, any questions on the focus group?
Dr. Revis, go back to that previous paragraph where you're talking about the school culture. Just
Yes.
remember too, in North Carolina, you've got the teacher working conditions survey. So, you can go back and look at what it talks about the school, your most recent one, the school culture, and you can actually include some of your language in there as well,
Right.
to align with what, that this aligns with our most recent teacher working condition survey, and, point some of those things out too. So that's in South Carolina, your panoramic, what did you say, Dr. The panoramic?
I think it's called panorama. I don't know.
Panorama.
Panoramic.
Anyway, whatever you use in South Carolina, you can do the same thing because it's embedded somewhere.
I know you have a school climate indicator
Yeah.
on your report card, but
Mhm.
I couldn't really see how that grade was given. So maybe I'm trusting that you know a little bit more about it than what I do. All right, so for your interviews, a little introduction there, who you're going to interview. Again, these are your specific interview questions that we have approved for you to use. And then if you're going to use teacher working condition survey or climate survey, describe the instrument and the findings. Remember, you can't really focus on math one, but you're focusing on that target student group.
Mhm.
Attendance and school discipline data, describe the data sets used and the findings, and then conclusions and recommendations. All right. Now, we're not asking you to really do, um, I guess we're asking you to really do recommendations based on the data that you have collected.
And what your focus group has said and what your interviews have resulted. So that you'll be pulling from that with another assignment.
So, for my example, one of the recommendations I definitely would say is talk with the principal to see if all Math 1 teachers can have the same planning. It may not be possible because they want to plan together.
Mhm.
Number two, I want to see how readily available that professional development, that Project GLAD would be, how feasible and available that would be to send our teachers to because they believe in it. Um, let's see, a third thing would be, I can't remember now, but you see, I'm pulling from what my focus groups told me and putting that in
Mhm.
my conclusions and recommendations. All right, I'm gonna stop for questions. It's a lot.
That's why you've got 2 weeks. The rest you've got, you got until the 21st that
Okay.
this has to be turned in. So, don't wait until the last minute to get started on this.
All right.
Okay,
We have
Katie,
a couple. We have a couple of hands up. Let's see, Dr. Stedman. I can't
Katie,
really see.
Katie first.
Okay, Katie.
Hi, I just have an APA question related to focus groups versus interviews. I don't have my APA book right in front of me. Otherwise, I would probably be flipping through it. But um, do we reference those all as interviews, or is the focus group a different type of citation?
A focus group is a focus group.
Okay.
Okay. And you really would not, I, really to hit APA, Katie, you would have to say, um, you would need to, when you give a quote down here,
Hmm.
um, you would need to say something like this. Oh, I'm caps lock, excuse me. You would have to say personal communication. Don't do that because you're using quotations, you're using direct. So don't worry about trying to cite that. Remember, you've got to keep the teachers anonymous and confidential. So you won't put their name or anything. Is that what you're asking?
Um, I think so. I'll dive into the book, and if I need clarification, I'll send you an email. It's no problem.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay,
right.
Nicole?
I think they answered one of my questions. I was wondering if we were going to have to cite it in our references, the quotation marks from the teachers. And my other question is the survey, the TWCS survey. I know Ms. Rivas used the equity portion for her helpful hints. Is that what we need to use, or is it based on our target subgroup?
You're not going to be able to get to a target subgroup in the teacher working condition survey. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just gonna give you general climate survey
Right.
answers.
Things that could have an impact on student achievement.
It will say
and there
I
may
think
not be anything there, you know, that you need.
I think it may say something like all students are treated fairly.
Right.
Okay.
Some things like that. Because you are talking about a group of students. Well, that would be a good one to look at to see. Now, you can't determine, are they talking about this specific group of students? But
Yes, ma'am. And last question, is there any for the any of the the quantitative data like the attendance and the school discipline data, are you guys expecting figures like we had in our previous assignments for those? Or is it just
I would think you should, yes.
Yes.
okay?
And you can, in North Carolina, get down to the student group data on those two things.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
Good,
Brandon.
good questions.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else? Now, I really liked what Dr.
Okay.
Stedman said about, don't make this difficult. Go to already established meetings. If you are, regardless of grade span school, I know in elementary you meet by grade levels a lot. I get that. Somebody asked me, could my target area just be like math in 5th grade? Yes, you can get it down to that, but don't go back and do it retroactively. You've already stated what it is in assignment 2, so don't go back and do anything any differently. But think about, when are our teachers already meeting, so that you're not having to call them to a different meeting, and you may have to go to a couple grade level meetings to get the data you want to get if needed.
Okay, Quinata?
Just clarification for the recommendations. Are we only doing that for the qualitative data, not the quantitative?
For everything.
Perfect. Okay.
For this quantitative data, and these are your only pieces of quantitative you got right here. Right? You just have to have one additional, other than your test scores. So, you don't have to have both of these. I would, because this stuff right here is easy to pull. Now, my South Carolina people, if you can't find this, go ahead and note that. But you'll have this backup data as quantitative.
And remember too, with your identified subgroup, that if you can get somebody to sit down with you and to look at the EVOS, the most recent EVOS data, that will help you tremendously with some things as well. So,
Yes.
okay,
That would
Marita?
be quantitative data as well.
Yeah, Marita?
Does the figures have to be in table form?
No. Just so we can see them and understand what they mean. Make sure, that your axes are labeled so we can understand what you're portraying, and that they're big enough for us to see them.
Right. And Marita, just always remember that your work is going to be viewed by evaluators, and it's eventually going to go to DPI for your assessment. So make sure everything you do has a professional look about it. Okay.
Now, for your, let me just say this, make sure that we're all clear. For your focus groups and interviews, there shouldn't be any tables or figures or anything like that. That's all narrative. You're reporting it narratively.
Okay, Hannah?
Hi, I just had a question about the quantitative data. With me being in South Carolina, some of the school climate surveys might be a little funny. So I was wondering if it would be possible for an additional piece of quantitative data for me to break apart my SE Ready data by subgroup. So I'm doing like math. So could I break it down like how my students scored in like geometry or on order of operation or algebraic thinking? Can I break it down like that as well?
You're wanting to break the curriculum down.
Yes.
I think that sounds fine. You're really narrowing down
Mhm.
what it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
that way I could kind of see how my subgroup performed in those categories.
That will
And
help.
for those,
Yes.
And especially, let's say you were in a K2 school. That's you don't have EOC scores and things. So that's really how you have to look at, you know, those grade levels anyway. You have to look at them, breaking them down, what you were talking about, Hannah. So I think you could really do any of them that way because, it breaks it down, you know, um,
Well, Hannah,
by all the math areas or
yeah,
whatever.
that kind of data,
Hmm.
that kind of data can really be helpful.
It could.
So
thank you.
that's great.
Mhm.
And, you know, you could put it here, you could put it right here instead. You don't have to do teacher work and you do survey of climate. If that data is there, then she's talking about breaking down curriculum strands.
Right.
Yes,
I couldn't think
based
of the
on
word
SE Ready.
strands. That's the word.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, curriculum strand data. That's a great data set.
I think so too.
Thank you
Perfect.
for
Thank you so
that.
much.
I'm gonna put that in there. That stays in your helpful hints.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Dr. Revis, if you'll stop sharing for a
Okay.
minute. Okay. Do you have a pretty clear understanding of what your next step is going into assignment 3? Is everybody good about that? Give us a thumbs up if say good. And you should because and again, make sure that you as you're moving into assignment 3 that we talk about your transitioning from assignment 1 to assignment 2, from assignment 2 to assignment 3. So make sure that, as Dr. Revis said, as you're introducing assignment 3, that it clearly talks about the transition, referencing back to what you've already done.
Now
Do
you
that.
don't have 2 full weeks, friends.
Right.
So you've got to get on this quickly. If you have any um if any groups are meeting tomorrow and Friday, see if you can get on their agenda. Maybe too early, because once you collect that data, and I would recommend audio recording it if they will approve you to do that. Some schools will not, but if they do, that will help you. You've got it. Then it's up to you to just analyze it and put it together, make meaning of it.
Dr. Revis, I want to point out in your Blackboard shell under Module 4, when you click under, to be successful in this module, complete the following. We've clearly talked about the focus group this week, quantitative data and qualitative data. These are some things that will help you. This is a short video, but it really helps you understand about conducting a focus group, feeling comfortable going into it. This is the better of the two, but this is a second one that you may want to look at as well. We've also put in there where you can go easily to find the North Carolina Teacher Working Conditions Survey and the South Carolina report cards. And South Carolina, you may have some other stuff that you can use as well. And then just a reminder, next week, chapter 3, talking about data. That's what we're going to be focusing on from our textbook reading next week. And here's your helpful hints. The assignment 3 rubric, And just a reminder that, all this is due by September the 21st. And then, not that you're going to have time to do this, but this is just letting you know that after this it all leads into something else. Dr. Revis did talk about identifying the gaps. We will begin identifying those gaps, working with that. We'll talk about that. And, we'll start talking about that next week with you. And, getting you ready for, as you start pulling all of this together and begin identifying the gaps, and then eventually trying to find solutions for the problems that you've got. Okay.
Yeah, you ultimately, once you collect these data sets, ultimately we're going to have you do some research, go into the Dover Library and do some research, a literature review, if you will, on possible solutions, causes, and solutions for your group of students, your content area and group of students.
So you're the doctor. You're the doctor. You're going to be the expert, and you're the doctor. There's a sickness, and you've got to find a cure for the sickness. So you're going to see what best practices are out there. What can I do to help make it well again? Or get it better. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, Gwenata?
Dr. Revis, that link for the focus group's not working on our agenda.
Okay, the first one, Gwen, or the
I only
second?
see one. I only see one on ours.
Okay. All right. I think it's in your agenda. Is it in your agenda?
Yes, ma'am. It's only one in our agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll get that fixed for you. Thank you. Anything else?
And I'll resend that, Dr. Revis, so that, because
Okay.
I opened it up and it did open up, and I'll go back and make sure it still opens up.
All right. Well, if nothing else, if Gina, if you don't mind, stay back a little bit. And guys, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay. Okay, there's Tanisha.
Hey, yes, Dr. Revis, I was hoping to be able to speak with you about I had some questions on my assignment too. I wanted to get clarified.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I tell you what, can we talk on the phone? Uh-oh, it's frozen.
Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me, Dr. Revis?
I can, but I can't hear Tanisha.
Okay,
Tanisha, can you
Tanisha
talk on the
froze.
phone?
I know it's working because I saw Christy blinking her eyes, so I know she's not frozen. Maybe she'll come back. Mary Kate.
So, Dr. Stedman, I emailed you and Dr. Stone on Tuesday. I still have not gotten my email about Watermark or Task Stream.
Okay. Has Dr. Stone not responded?
I have not heard anything back.
Okay, let me check with him. And I apologize, I did not see that, but I wouldn't
It's
have been
okay.
able to done anything anyway. Mary Kate Duncan. Okay, Watermark. Email. I'll prod him on that one, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Randy?
Hey, Dr. Stedman, I sent you an
Hey.
email. I was just checking to see if you received it. It's been a couple days.
Randy, I thought I had checked all my emails. So because I checked my emails several times. Let me check that again, Brandy.
Okay.
But Brandy, resend it to me just in case, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Marita?
Okay, my question is, if you had resubmitted twice, but we still have adjustments to make, I know we can't get a grade, but will you still look at it or we're on our own?
I'm going to look at it, yes.
So do I resubmit it in the same spot or send
Same
an
spot,
email?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank
Same
you.
spot, Marita, yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay,
You may not
thanks.
get 100, but you can
Right,
improve your grade.
right.
Thank you.
Okay, Rosalind?
My question was about watermark as well. I still haven't received the email.
Okay. Dr.
What was that,
Revis?
Rosalind?
I haven't received the email from Watermark.
Okay. All right. Have you emailed Dr. Stone?
No. So that's what
Okay.
I should do.
Yes, email Dr.
Okay.
Stone.
Okay. Tanisha, are you back?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I was having some
Okay.
issues.
Tanisha, you're actually, if it's work, I'm the one that grades your work.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Did I say? I thought I
You
said
said
that.
you said Dr.
yeah.
Revis.
I apologize. I
That's
apologize. I
okay.
meant to say Dr.
Okay.
Stedman. I apologize.
Okay. Go ahead and ask the question. Is it something
Okay.
that because
Yeah.
others may?
So on it, you said that you were asking why I repeated from assignment 1 into assignment 2, and I was going on the impression that from my last notes, you said to pull from that to put in our assignment 2.
Yeah, that you can pull information in there, but when you went back, yours was I highlighted that area because your directives and everything was starting all over again. You need to go back and look at your formatting.
Yeah, I
on
was
that.
having some issues with that, trying to
So-
figure out.
So when it got to that point, it was like it was repeating work that you had already done. That's what
Okay.
it was showing on my end. So go back and look at that, and if you need to, just call me tomorrow, okay? Just
Okay,
call me
'cause
tomorrow, and if I need to, I can Zoom with you for a few minutes, okay?
okay, I'm gonna probably need to do that. Do
Okay.
you know about the time that's best for you?
I'll be at work by 7:30 in the morning. You can reach out to me from probably 7:30 on.
Okay, yes, sir. I
Just
will do that.
just give me time to go eat lunch tomorrow. Other than that, I'll be there.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Okay, other questions?
Okay, Gina, are you still with us?
I see Regina down there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, bye, guys.
Okay, unmute yourself. Can you show your video, Gina? Your screen?
Okay.
There
Okay,
you are.
Leah, do you have, okay, Leah's gone, so it's just us now. I'm gonna stop recording, Dr. Revis.
Okay.